Hello my friends, this is Buck Weezer and you've tuned to Buck Small Engine DIY on YouTube, and I got a very interesting little project here for us to look at today. It's a zero turn by Gravely, the 152Z, and this zero turn mower is 18 years old. It belongs to a gentleman who inherited it from his father, and he wanted to keep it going and just get it in good shape again. So he decided that he would replace the engine. So he did that himself, and it appears he's done a pretty good job with this. It had a Kawasaki 23 horsepower, and he was given the assurance that this 21 horsepower Kawasaki would mount up just perfectly and be a great replacement engine, and it appears that it is. But he's had a problem in that when he goes to start it, he has an electrical issue, and this 25 amp fuse just immediately blows, and so he can't get it started, and he's frustrated by this little electrical issue. He also told me that he'd replace the key switch, and I tucked that little bit of information in my brain to come back to later. But he honestly said he's colorblind, so when you're looking at all these wires, they all look the same to him. He's not real comfortable reading a wiring diagram, and he just wanted to know if I could help him diagnose this blowing fuse issue and just help him get this project over the finish line, which I was happy to do. So I'm going to talk you through what I discovered, how we resolved it, and I think it will be interesting and hopefully informative and helpful for you. Well, first thing I did is I pulled out my most important and useful small engine repair tool, and that is the World Wide Web, the internet. So I spent some time online looking up the wiring diagram for this particular zero turn mower, and I got that right here. Spent some time studying that so I understand how it's designed to operate, and I also looked up the electrical schematic for the key switch, and this is really important, and that's really going to be the heart of our video today, is understanding how a key switch works and making sure you get the right one. The key switch on a lawn tractor often is a main distribution center. It's got both battery positive coming in to power up the accessories at the right time. It's got the battery negative coming in to ground out the ignition coil when you shut things off. So understanding how a key switch works and being able to check one and make sure you got the right one is really, really important. So over here, here's the old switch, and I'm just going to show you with the diagram and then use my multimeter on the continuity setting. We're going to look at this key switch that he had installed, compare it to the diagram, and you're going to see that's where our diagnosis comes to its conclusion. So this is the key switch the gentleman had installed, and the wiring harness plugs into it just fine with no problem. It's the same, appears to be the exact same setup, 6 different posts, 5 on the connector, and then 1 separate wire. And you know, it looks like it's supposed to. You know, a key switch is a key switch, right? Or is it? Well, not every tractor is wired to work the same, and so not every key switch is the same, and just because the harness plugs in doesn't mean it's the correct key switch. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this too well. Hopefully I can zoom in on this diagram. And so in this top left corner of the chart, we have the continuity diagram for each of the 3 positions of your key switch. Okay, so you know you've got off, you got off, run, and then the spring-loaded start for cranking the engine to get it started, and then it springs back into the run position. So those 3 positions do different things, and they're showing us in this little schematic what what terminals will have continuity between them when you're in each of the 3 different positions. So we can check that out. So let's start with the off position, all right? Key switch all the way to the left. We turn it upside down like this, and it's showing us, you may not be able to see it, the 2 bottom terminals, when in the off position, have continuity. They're labeled G and M, and I'm going to guess that those letters indicate ground, so battery negative is coming to the key switch on the G terminal, and the M probably stands for magneto because it is connected to the ignition coil, the magneto. So when ground connection, battery negative, is connected, there's continuity to the magneto, the engine will stop. So that's the only 2 terminals that will have continuity when our switch is in the off position. So here's the switch from the tractor that had been replaced. So let's just take our multimeter, okay, and it'll beep when we have continuity. And I'm just going to touch these 2 tabs at the bottom, the G terminal and the M terminal on our switch, and if everything's correct, we should get that beep of continuity. But look, we don't. And that was my first clue that we've probably got the wrong switch, because we do not have continuity in the off position between those 2 terminals. All right, so let's look at the chart again, just to take it a little bit deeper. How about in the run position? That's the second position. So we got off and then 1 click over to run. In run, the only 2 terminals that will have continuity are B, which I think is battery positive coming in, and A, which could be accessories. And when I study the schematic for the tractor here, I can see that that particular terminal is feeding battery positive to the different things like the fuel solenoid, the regulator is connected there for charging the battery. There's a power supply, probably cigarette lighter type thing, and so it's getting power battery positive through those 2 terminals. Okay, so anyway, I had to take a phone call, so we're back. So what we see here on the, zoom you in on that if it helps. What we see here when the switch is in the run position is that the only continuity we're going to have is between B battery and A accessories. And again, this is the key switch that they have been installed on the tractor, so let's try that and see if that helps. So this would be the one marked A, and this one by itself here, the lone one, and there's no continuity between those 2 terminals. My continuity tester is not getting any reading, because if we did, we'd get the beep, but we're not. And then finally, if you can take my word for it, it's hard to test the switch when you have to hold it in the start position, right? But that continuity there on this particular tractor model and key switch has that same A-B continuity, but it also has an S1 and S2 terminals, which also would have continuity when we're over in the spring-loaded start position. And I can just tell you right now, it doesn't. And I came to the quick and fortunately easy conclusion that this was the wrong switch. Plugs in, the harness plugs in, seems like it, but it's not correct. And that's because not every make and model uses the same wiring setup as is used on this Gravely zero turn. So between the combination of this diagram and the key switch schematic, it's able to determine that we don't have the right switch. So I did look up the part, I ordered the switch, it arrived today, here's the new one. So let's try our tests again and verify that we do now in fact have the right switch. So let's turn it to the off position, And we should have continuity between terminals M and G, which are these two here at the bottom. Guess what? That's correct. All right, let's turn it to run, second position. And now we should have continuity between terminals A and B, which is going to be this guy right here and this guy. Bingo. You hear it beeping. And we're just going to, it's so hard to, you need 3 hands to hold it into position. But we've done enough to confirm that we now have the correct switch, and plugging that into the wiring harness on the tractor is going to solve that blown fuse issue, and it's going to crank and start our engine for us. And that is why it's really important to be able to understand these diagrams and schematics so you can test your key switch and make sure you've got the right one, and make sure you're going to install the right one. Otherwise you'll go through a bag of 25 amp fuses before you know it. Alright, new key switch is installed, harness plugged into the back. Is it going to work, or is it going to blow a fuse? Let's find out. Ah, that's beautiful. And now the engine cranks just like it's supposed to. Alright, that feels really good. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching today. I hope it was helpful to you. The actual repair took about 3 minutes. The getting to the correct diagnosis took a little bit longer than that, but it was a good result. So hopefully that is helpful to you and interesting, because you may come across these kinds of things also. And I'm really happy to help this guy get his engine swap over the finish line, and I think he'll be happy to have it, and I think his dad would be pleased as well. Your comments and questions in the discussion below are always helpful and appreciated, so please let me know what you think. Like and subscribe to the channel, and remember, as I always like to say, guys, only you can put the do into do it yourself. We'll see you next time.